What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It is time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I'm your host, TJ Zwarych. No Damon with me today, but I am joined with a special guest. You know him. You've seen him before. Richard Nebens, my fellow Agent of Fandom, a legendary writer over at thedirect.com. How you doing, Rich?
TJ, it is great to be here. What a week it's been. I mean, we got so much to jump into. I mean, besides the Marvel and Star Wars trailers that we're going to be talking about today, what a week it has been for trailers and everything. But I'm happy to be here. This is going to be a fun day.
Couldn't agree more. I'm looking forward to diving into this with you. There's so many trailers that dropped. We can't hit on all of them. We're just going to focus on a few. And like I mentioned, we got stuff coming up with Creature Commandos, with the Skeleton Crew that we're going to be covering week to week like we usually do. But until then, we're going to go through some trailers, some news, maybe have some drafts and some fun games and things like that coming up. So make sure you stay tuned. Follow the Agents of Fandom on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see the socials right down there, as well as our website, as well as our store, where you can get wonderful clothing like what I'm wearing right now, our Avatar: The Last Airbender Agents of Fandom clothing. Speaking of news, there was some more Avatar casting news this week that's pretty exciting as well for the live action series. And make sure, if you are watching us on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Help us battle that YouTube algorithm by hitting the like button. All you got to do is slide your mouse over, give it a little click, or if you're watching on your phone, click hide chat. Then you can hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the Agents of Fandom wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to be focusing on the Thunderbolts. We're going to be focusing on Captain America: Brave New World, What If Season 3, and Skeleton Crew. There were small little pieces shown of projects like Percy Jackson, projects like Daredevil Born Again, even The Last of Us over at HBO. But we're going to focus on the full trailers that we got. But before that, we're going to have another edition of Whatcha Watchin. Rich, we talk about the things we're watching for fun, we're playing for fun, we're reading for fun, because living in the world where we're creating content, consuming so much content for work, it's important to get stuff, a little bit of us time as well. So what have you been watching?
Actually, what's fun is I've been going through a Supernatural rewatch with my wife. I think we're on like season 10 or so right now out of 15. It's a long show, so it keeps us busy for a little while. But soon enough, next on my slate is semi-work, semi for fun. I'm going to go into a Netflix rewatch for Daredevil, because we got Daredevil Born Again coming out on March 4th. So I'm going to do a rewatch of all 6 Netflix shows, Punisher, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, all that, to make sure I'm ready for season 3. So pumped for that. And been playing a little bit of 2K, been getting ready for some other stuff I'm doing at the end of the month. My birthday's coming up along with Thanksgiving. So that's going to be pretty fun. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. But yeah, no, I've been having fun with that.
Heck yeah. Love it. Love to hear it. I mean, I don't know if I'd say if this was for fun. I'm in a fantasy football league that every week the highest scorer gets to pick a movie to watch for the rest of us. And then we talk about it because we have a show for Roto-Grinders every Wednesday on YouTube. And last week I had to watch The Substance, which, let me tell you, that is one of the craziest movies I have ever seen. I'm not going to say it is bad by any means. It is a body horror film, and that is not my genre. I think for what they wanted to do, what they wanted to accomplish, it was very interesting. I read up about how they used exclusively prosthetics and practical effects for the whole movie. They didn't use any VFX shots for the crazy things that were going on. It's a lot of gore. It's not really for me, but it was an interesting movie nonetheless. I certainly wouldn't call it fun, though, from my own perspective. But on my own time, I've been playing a lot of Dragon Age Veilguard for PS5. I am excited, though, because we're a week away from the first story addition to Star Wars Outlaws. And so we get to play the Lando story and play some Sabak and do some gambling with Lambo in the next little story they're unveiling. So I'm excited for that because that's next week. So I'm definitely going to be diving into some Star Wars Outlaws. But that's about it. I've been where we're kind of always have a rewatch going of Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. We've just been kind of looping that lately as our in the background show. And I did just rewatch Gladiator in preparation for Gladiator 2. I'm very excited for that one to be coming out. Let's dive into what we're here to talk about. Before the trailers, I do want to talk a little news because Kevin Feige had a interview with Omelette when they were in Brazil for their little event they had going on. And he unveiled a lot of important news. First and foremost, he teased Scarlet Witch's return to the MCU. He says all he can say is that he's excited to find out how Scarlet Witch might return. And the most important part of that right there is that it's how the Scarlet Witch might return. Not when, but how. So, it's nice to get that little confirmation from Kevin Feige. Where do you think would be the most likely place for the Scarlet Witch to return?
Well, just think off the top of my head, I've got a couple of options. Obviously, Marvel's going to want to bring her back for Secret Wars because they're going to want to bring back everybody for Secret Wars, and that's going to be like the cameo festival, cameo fests, and like the biggest comic book movie in history. But on a more like realistic level, I'm thinking maybe Vision Quest, Vision solo series, which is supposed to be like kind of the capper of this trilogy that WandaVision's part of, Agatha All Along was part of, and now Vision is going to kind of close things off. That would probably be my best bet on like where she returned. But we've been talking about this for the better part of 2.5 years. Like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness comes on every so often on TV, and I'll check it out. And like at this point, it really is just a matter of when, not if. Because nobody expects the Scarlet Witch is actually dead. So it's just figuring out how she comes back and how she does it.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Couldn't agree more on that one. I've seen a lot of people speculate maybe a third Doctor Strange movie. Best case scenario, the Scarlet Witch returns in her own solo movie, and that would be absolutely fantastic. But a third Doctor Strange movie, Vision Quest, I think at least by Doomsday and Secret Wars, absolutely she'll be back. My theory is that it'll have something to do with the Young Avengers after Ghost Agatha and Billy, and after they find Tommy. The next reasonable one for them to look for to me is going to be Wanda. But even if it's not just them looking for her, I've had a theory that maybe in Avengers Doomsday, the Avengers lose similarly to how they do in Infinity War. And it's up to the young Avengers to go on a bit of a children's crusade, if you will, to find Wanda Maximoff as the only being capable of stopping Doctor Doom, the only one who could be powerful enough. So I like that one quite a bit. That's my how Wanda Maximoff will return theory. But
and I will say that I interviewed Julian Hilliard a couple of years ago during Doctor Strange 2. And he brought up Children's Crusade as like one of the comics that he wants to see adapted into the MCU. So this has been a thing for a couple of years. At this point, I would be shocked if that doesn't become a part of the MCU at some point, because it seemed to like clearly set off toward that story at the end of Agatha All Along with what Billy and Agatha were doing. So I'm just looking forward to seeing it, how Marvel does it, and hopefully they do it right.
Agreed. Same page. Feige also said he expects Deadpool and Wolverine he wants to use them as much as he can. So turns out the jokes in that movie of we're going to use Hugh Jackman until he's 80 may have actually been pretty accurate, because hey, they're going to use them as much as they can. As a huge Deadpool fan, I know you're excited to hear that.
Absolutely. It's funny. For me, the way I've thought about it is like, when we found out that Deadpool was coming out, and then especially with Wolverine coming back, I've always kind of had this thought that they want to keep Deadpool around for a while, considering like just how limitless his opportunities are in the MCU. He could realistically show up anywhere in the MCU, and there wouldn't really be a question of how or why he does it. Wolverine, I've always kind of thought it would be kind of like a 2-movie thing for Hugh Jackman, like, do Deadpool, Wolverine, and Secret Wars. But considering how much everybody loved what he did in Deadpool and Wolverine, I mean, I'm not surprised. He seems like he's still like all in on playing this character, especially under Marvel Studios. And I mean, there's 1.3 billion reasons why they want to bring Deadpool and Wolverine back. It's like clearly, like unquestionably, the highest grossing R-rated movie ever, and it was a huge success. It kind of brought Marvel back into the forefront. So it's no surprise. I'm just looking forward to seeing how they do it, and where they're going to bring my boy Wade Wilson back.
And then he also provided a little bit of assurance to Blade fans. They're still trying to figure out how it fits into the schedule. They're going to let people know, but he assures people that we're committed to Blade. We love the character. We love Mahershala's take on him. And so that is still coming, Blade fans. Don't worry about that. Teases how the X-Men are coming not until after Secret Wars. Disappointing. That's still very far away, but it's understandable for the story that they wanted to tell. There's a Spider-Man movie coming in between Doomsday and Secret Wars, which isn't necessarily good news for the people who are wanting it to be a grounded New York Kingpin Daredevil style Spider-Man movie, but doesn't necessarily mean that that's not coming. I think Tom Holland's going to be around as Spider-Man for a long time. That was it from Feige's big interview in terms of the hard-hitting stuff. But we got a lot of trailers to talk about, so I want to pivot to that as well. Of the 3 Marvel trailers that we got, the Thunderbolts, Asterisk, Captain America Brave New World, What If Season 3. Not necessarily which do you think was the best trailer, but what got you the most excited for the project?
Honestly, like, I don't know if we're going to be on the same on this. I think Thunderbolts. Like, I never was necessarily nervous about how Thunderbolts would turn out. I just didn't know how they were going to put that specific team together, like the 6 or 7 main characters that are in this movie, how they were going to, mesh them together into this team. But the more I see from Thunderbolts, the more, like, I'll say this. If take Fantastic Four off the board, because Fantastic Four has me more excited than any movie since Deadpool and Wolverine, like probably
movie since the movie earlier this year.
Yes, I get it. But Fantastic Four just has me like so wildly hyped for it, and we haven't seen anything from it. If that was off the board, Thunderbolts is right there for me. Like if Fantastic Four is a 10, Thunderbolts is about a 9.5 for me, like maybe even higher, because I'm really, really excited for Thunderbolts. I think this is going to be a really fun movie.
Yeah, I didn't have that same level of excitement prior to the trailer, but the trailer really ramped up my excitement for that movie as well. That's definitely the one that I think I was most excited about of the group, because it looked fun. It did, like, I'll be honest, it gave Suicide Squad vibes a little bit, like it.
Just when they were laying out the names and everything. Yeah,
exactly. The way they were laying out that names, I kind of felt like, wait a minute, I feel like I've seen this before.
But we've at least the thing I think that this movie has an advantage is that we've actually seen these characters before this movie. Like, I mean, Suicide Squad, they tried to do Suicide Squad as the 3rd movie in the DCU. Even as good as James Gunn's one was, there were so many characters that we had to get introduced to in that movie outside of the ones that were in the first movie. Like, I'm just so excited that we only have a couple of newbies in this movie to really, like, get to know for the first time.
So that actually brings me to a point that I want to make that was later in the rundown, but I'm going to pull it up earlier as we talk about this trailer, because you talked about the footage and how the Thunderbolts, and how Suicide Squad was introducing so many new players. This one, we know them. We've met all of them before, except for Sentry, except for Bob. Sorry, apologies, Bob. And so,
like teen in Agatha All Along.
Yeah, we've met them all before, but in the Suicide Squad, they introduced a ton of new people, and they did it for a reason, for the reason of killing them off right at the beginning to make us go, what the hell? What is going on? And it made a good, like, shock effect for that movie. When I'm looking through the footage of all of this long 3+ minute trailer,
it was long.
Taskmaster is someone who has has a card. She is almost nowhere to be seen in this entire trailer. Now, they were talking on Phase Hero about a potential theory of how maybe Taskmaster dies at the beginning of this movie and like show some stakes. The team is like there's real danger here. You lose Taskmaster at the beginning of the movie and she's not in it. I actually have an alternate theory with Taskmaster, and that's one of the biggest criticisms with that character in Black Widow had nothing to do with the gender swap, but had to do with how Taskmaster's very yappy. If you've watched, when he shows up in Spider-Man cartoons or Avengers cartoons, see him in video games he's shown up in or comic books, he likes to talk shit. And that was completely taken out of the character for Black Widow. I've been wondering if maybe it's not that there's an early death for Taskmaster, but they're trying to hide the footage because this character is talking as they fight and they talk shit throughout the movie, and they're trying to keep that a secret until that one comes out. Which of these two theories do you think is more likely, or do you think it's nothing to do with that and it was just an omission?
I actually kind of am on board with your second thought, like the fact that she's yapping a lot. And like you said, like I love the version of Taskmaster that they did like in the first PS4 Spider-Man game. The one that's a side mission for him, and he was so much fun. And that's really like the one disappointment about Taskmaster from the original, is that they did this kind of mind controlled like super soldier, almost like a robot kind of thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, she was a great character and she worked great for the movie, but there's so much more that you can do with Taskmaster, and I hope they explore it in this one. But literally, I was watching the trailer before we came on. She's just in that opening like team up shot in Avengers Tower, which another point we're going to get to here very soon, or maybe Thunderbolts or Val Tower now or whatever. But other than that, you don't see her at all, which is crazy.
Exactly, and she's not very evident throughout. We'll pull up some of the footage. Ooh, didn't mean to have any of that sound on there, but hopefully that's all good now. One of the things that stands out to me from the beginning is, and we'll get to it, about the Avengers Tower stuff. I noticed that we really are getting an interesting found family vibe from this movie, which is one of my favorite tropes, and so I'm excited about that. But Bucky being an absolute badass, saving the day. This guy's so cool, as Red Guardian says in the trailer. I'm excited to get some Bucky. I've heard rumors that he's going to be Congressman Bucky, Congressman Barnes at some point in this movie. Maybe he already is. I don't know, but he looks pretty damn cool.
Well, in the first trailer, there was that shot of him like going into what looked like a big hall with an American pin on his suit. Mm-hmm. So I think that kind of, I don't know if it necessarily confirms it, but what's his name? Ryan Russell talked about it at San Diego Comic-Con last year too. And this just gives us such like Terminator Rambo vibe. This feels like an 80s movie almost, like with this kind of footage and the action that we're seeing. I love it. And also, I want to shout out too that the Red Guardian has his own labeled car. Like it has Red Guardian on the side of it, which just does not shock me.
Red Guardian limousine, just running a limousine company to make some money.
It's just, I cannot wait for David Harbour in this movie. I love what he does as Red Guardian. Like him and Yelena together are going to be just perfect, and I'm so excited to see what happens with that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Yelena is, I'm excited to see her in anything. Every project she's popped up in so far, she's been probably my favorite part of it, even in the small little bit that she popped up in Hawkeye. But here it is. We see the full crew in Avengers Tower, and it's no longer Avengers Tower. We don't know what it's going to be called, but Val is the purchaser of Avengers Tower. We've been wondering who this would be the whole time. Like we've wondering who, ever since Spider-Man, when we found out that Avengers Tower was getting sold a long ass time ago, we've been wondering. So Val has purchased Avengers Tower. What did you think of the reveal? What do you think of the fact that it's her that bought it?
It's not what I was expecting, of course, because I was kind of hoping maybe for like it'd be the new Fantastic Four building, or Oscorp if they wanted to do a 616 Norman Osborn. But considering what we know now,
I don't mind it just because Val is such a powerful character, not like physically, obviously, but she has so much influence. Like she is a high ranking member of the US government now, as we saw in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So it's not surprising that she wants her own evil home base. And and I could see her being the sick, twisted kind of person that would really relish in the fact that this is Tony's old building. This is what was used to be Avengers Tower. Like I could see her just loving that. I bet she's at that bar probably at least once a day, just for shits and giggles.
She does pay homage to all the big events that have happened there in its past as this crew assembles there for the first time, and we can see Taskmaster, she's there, but we don't get to see her in very many other parts of this trailer. But it doesn't necessarily bother me that it's Val. I will say I agree with some other takes I've heard that she feels like a little bit of an underwhelming character so far, but that is by design because we know nothing about her yet, and this is the movie that we're going to find out more about what's going on with her. And so I'm very excited about that because Julia Louis-Dreyfus is great, and I can't wait to see more of her on screen. When she's on screen, she's great. It's just I feel like I have a little bit of PTSD of all these stingers and teases that never get paid off. And I know it's getting paid off in this movie for her.
But a lot of them that are finally getting paid off in this movie.
Yeah, a lot of them are finally coming to fruition. But it's just like I need to see it to figure out what's going on with this character because I still don't know, right? And I'm with you. I was kind of hoping it would be the new Fisk Tower. He would be the one to take over it. Then that would add, a little bit of extra trauma for Spider-Man the next time that he fought him. That's where I was hoping it would go, but I'm totally fine with this as well. I'm excited to see the crew. Of the character features we saw, like we talked about, we got those little name features. Which one was your favorite that got you most hyped to see the individual character?
I mean, honestly, I actually
loved just about all of them. I mean, this right here is just hilarious. Like you said, I love every single second of Yelena Belova that we've gotten in the MCU. She's carrying a damn gerbil or a guinea pig out of it's just casually walking.
Bucky's taking his arm out of a dishwasher.
It's one of the best parts of this movie.
And Red Guardian too. I mean, everything that everybody has done with these characters has just been fantastic. And even somebody like John Walker, who's been a little bit underwhelming at times, just because he's like what Ghost says, he's the dime store Captain America, literally right here. I'm curious to see where he goes in this movie, but Ghost, Taskmaster, I'm really excited to see how they grow individually and as this weird, strange team. Where I'm not sure if any of them necessarily want to be there with each other, but they're gonna have to be. So.
Exactly. And we're going to get this, none of the Avengers liked each other at the beginning either. They all hated each other at the beginning and it took them a while to grow as a team. And, I guess they hated each other a little bit at the end as well. But I'm happy you brought up the dime store Captain America thing. That to me was a hilarious thing just because kudos to Wyatt Russell because I hate John Walker. And so it shows he's doing a great job of acting because I don't think we're necessarily supposed to like that character. And he does a great job of making me hate him. And so I'm excited to see the fighting between them, the banter between them. I hope John Walker is just kind of constantly getting his ass kicked, even though he has the super soldier serum. Even with it, I hope we still get to see Yelena kick his ass. I hope Ghost kicks his ass. I hope they all do. And so I'm excited for that. But
funny story,
Bob. Oh, hit me.
Just real funny story. My wife and I actually just recently, a couple of days ago, rewatched Falcon and Winter Soldier. I cannot wait to see the Bucky John Walker interaction again, just because he from the moment that Bucky saw John Walker for the first time, he was done. He wanted nothing to do with John Walker's entire existence. So I just bet they're going to be at each other's throats this entire movie, and I'm all here for it.
We even get the same we'll talk about it more when we go to What If, but we see a similar shot of Red Guardian and Bucky in a car, and both of in the original trailer or in the What If trailer as well as this one. So that's going to be fun getting lots of those two characters together. I want to talk about Bob, aka Sentry. I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about his various comic origins. Jenna Anderson gave a great pitch of how he's connected to the negative zone in phase Hero. So make sure you check that out. Almost messed that one up, but I corrected myself before I gave the wrong
guys for rising from the ashes. I mean, just like some of the goats of people in this industry that, you know, obviously TJ and I look up to. So shout out Phase Hero. Can't wait to see where they go.
And Jenna talked about how he's his newest versions have him connected to the negative zone, and that's where his powers come from. The original Sentry had them trying to create a stronger super soldier serum, and they ended up creating Sentry. And I know him best from the comic run in World War Hulk. That was where I was first introduced to Sentry, where Hulk's coming back to Earth. He's pissed. He's beaten up everybody. No one can stop him. And so they go to Sentry. He's struggling with all kinds of mental health issues. I believe the character has paranoid schizophrenia. And they also describe him as someone with the power of 1,000 suns, stronger than Thor, anybody else who's gone up against Hulk so far. And he's the only one who could take him down. And so that's one of my favorite pieces of from that story and one of my favorite comic book arcs. And so I'm excited to see what they do with Sentry here. This movie looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get to it. Why do you think we got the Asterisk in Thunderbolts? And what do you think? What do you think it's for? What are your theories?
Well, I haven't thought too deep into it, but I do like the one kind of running theory that everybody has. It's going to end up being Dark Avengers. That's, I think, the easy, like, chalk pick for it. But, I mean, and like, I was realizing in the trailer, too, they make a big deal about, like when David Harbour goes, "We're the Thunderbolts!" And Bucky's like, "Please don't call us that. We're the Thunderbolts." But I bet that's just going to be a thing the entire movie. And I love that they're making more of a big deal out of this name than they did like in the first Suicide Squad movie, where Will Smith just kind of, it was like a throwaway roll credits line. I am curious to see if it ends up being Dark Avengers, because that's like I said, the easy pick that they could go, but there's a few different routes that they could go. I'm curious to see what you think about it.
Yeah, I think the Dark Avengers thing is the most likely as well, with them being in Avengers Tower. You know, maybe they find out that Thunderbolt Ross, Red Hulk, who knows if he's even alive anymore after Captain America, because Captain America actually comes out first. And so who knows if he's even alive anymore. Maybe he found out that Thunderbolt Ross wanted to reassemble the Avengers and put this team together, and that's where they got the name before he died. So he calls him that, and Bucky's like, "Screw that, I don't even like that guy." It could be something like that. Dark Avengers seems pretty likely to me, but I don't have any other ulterior theories really of who it could be.
I was also thinking too, because this is one of the only phases that doesn't end with an Avengers movie. They could reroute it and like end it with a Dark Avengers movie, so to kind of get back on track after what Phase 4 did.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I'm very, very excited for this film, but they just went back to back. They said, "Hey, you liked that? Boom, you looking for this? We got another one for you. We got Captain America, Brave New World."
Here I am.
Of course, I forgot to turn off the sound again. Like
You're
a fool. I'm excited about this film. The trailer looks really, really good. It begins with Isaiah Bradley's attack on the president. He doesn't remember it. He asks Sam for help. Sam wants to help him. We got Joaquin and Sam working together in tandem, just like Captain America Winter Soldier. You got Falcon and Cap working together. This trailer has they're leaning big time into the Winter Soldier vibes, right? Spy thriller. They're trying to emulate it. It's, to me, the highest quality Marvel movie. Like, I think, Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War, those are real spectacles, and they did something movies haven't ever done. But in terms of just like straight up, I don't need to know any lore. I want to watch a great movie. I think Captain America Winter Soldier is the best one in the MCU. And so I'm happy that they're leaning into that. I'm really excited to see this. The action sequences look incredible. We get to see him in a variety of different suits in this trailer, trying out new things. We get the vibranium cutting through missiles in the air and cutting through trucks and stuff like that. What do you think of how this trailer looks and presents itself with the Winter Soldier vibes, the dual screen aspects of it, all of it?
Well, I love, and I gotta say too, just in terms of like a trailer itself,
this is actually one of the coolest trailers for a Marvel movie that I've seen in a while. I mean, like, obviously, I love the Thunderbolts one, and that got me really hyped for the movie. But Cap 4 has had a lot of people worried just because of all the news that has come out surrounding it with the reshoots and some of the controversy and everything. This trailer looks really, really cool. I love that they lean into like the Cap versus Red Hulk vibes. And like, I mean, Harrison Ford in this movie is going to be fantastic. I already know that. I can't wait to see what he does with the Red Hulk. It is kind of a bummer that like William Hurt never got to do that. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago and they never got to let him do that. But I'm very excited to see what Harrison Ford does. And like with the split screen aspect and everything, they really, really hyped up this as a battle between, Cap and President Ross. I'm excited. I'm definitely a lot less worried about it. I still have some concerns, obviously, but this trailer did a good job of, really getting us hyped for what this movie is going to be about. And there's a lot to look forward to. And last thing before you go, if you're going Winter Soldier vibes in the MCU, you're making a good choice because, I mean, we agree it's probably the best single movie that Marvel's ever done.
It's so funny how, when we were just talking about the Marvel's post-credit stuff and calling back to earlier movies and characters, when are we going to see Hercules? When are we going to see the Eternals? When are we going to see Blade? Things like that. But in this movie, they're going back a long way to the Incredible Hulk. We have a large part of this trailer being narrated by Samuel Stearns, aka the leader. He's got this hat on to cover up a big old green brain in his head that we see pop out at the end of Hulk that has not been referenced until now when it all comes back. He's expected to be the one that's in charge of basically all the bad stuff going down in this movie. We see Tiamat's hand that they're finally referencing from Eternals. This is very interesting to me how they're going with this because there's so many different pieces of, I found it so interesting in Winter Soldier where it kind of feels like a little bit of a team up movie. They're all fighting Hydra, but we got Nick Fury and Maria. We have Falcon. We have Black Widow, and it feels like a little bit of a team up. For this, it almost feels like it's at least from what we've seen so far, Sam and Torres against the world, right?
Yeah.
Like it's Cap and Falcon against the world because they got Red Hulk to contend with. They have the leader to contend with. They have Giancarlo Esposito's character, the leader of the Serpent Society to contend with. Like there's a lot of angles that are all closing in on them in this movie, a lot of villains, and it kind of just seems like it's Cap and it's Falcon taking on all of them.
And what's really funny is when you think about it like that, the way you put it, which was so great, it almost makes sense to like throw Sam right into like the fire of all fires. Because like this is a guy that, there's still a lot of people, ironically enough, in real life and in this universe who don't think Sam's the right person to be Captain America or questioning Steve Rogers' pick. Even, Ross says you're not Steve Rogers. And it does feel like they're really doing it literally and figuratively. Like you said, Sam and Torres against the world. And I'm so excited to see how Sam handles all that, especially with really not much help. I mean, he's got obviously Isaiah Bradley, who's in prison. He's going to have Torres. I'm so excited to see what Torres does with the Falcon suit, because he's going to look great. But he's got a lot to contend with. And, it's so funny too. Like, you put Sam Wilson against anybody played by Harrison Ford, and that's going to be an issue. You put him against anybody played by Giancarlo Esposito, and that's going to be an issue. But then when you throw their characters into the mix, the fact that he has to go against the Red Hulk, who you can see here, I mean, the scariest villain we've seen.
He looks good.
He looks so good. Like, I'm so excited to see what they do with Red Hulk. And that's another one that's been such a long time coming. Obviously along with the leader, but this is going to be so epic. I never thought I'd see the day where Han Solo looked like a Hulk.
Han Solo Hulk is here. The Red Hulk is here, coming to theaters February 14th. We are not that far away. We will, of course, be reviewing it on Agents of Fandom podcast, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our great shows. Red Hulk looks great. He looks absolutely incredible. One of the things I think is super important to touch on is not only do we have the two different suits for Sam in this episode, in this movie trailer, but it's important to note that we have Tiamat here, right? And the rumors are that Tiamat is going to be bringing adamantium, the same thing Wolverine's claws are made out of, into the MCU. And the Red Hulk has a big ol' weakness, and that's adamantium. And so I do wonder with Sam's two different suits in this trailer, if he gets his ass beat in his vibranium suits, and he then he puts on gets some adamantium wings with the more classic Captain America, regular padded whatever it is, suit, adamantium wings, and that's how he manages to fight the Red Hulk. And so that's something that I think could potentially come into play here. We got vibranium, we got adamantium, we got Red Hulk, we got Serpent Society. What are you most excited about for this movie?
I mean, there is so much. I mean, obviously the adamantium thing, we've been waiting for that since Eternals, and now everybody online can shut up about it because we've been literally asking about that giant Tiamat hand in every single project since Eternals, and we finally get an answer. So I'm really, really excited about that. But I think it's just, for me, I think the most exciting thing is seeing Sam Wilson get his own major solo project. Like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was fantastic. And I think they did a really good job with that show. I think it's a little underrated in terms of some of the Disney Plus shows. But seeing Sam Wilson's Captain America get his own movie on the level of what Steve Rogers got, what Chris Evans got in the Infinity Saga, I think that's going to be so cool. I think it's going to propel him to new levels of like stardom in the MCU, even for a character that's already been around for a decade. So I'm just so excited to see that, plus all these new characters, plus the history that we're bringing back. I mean, we've got stuff, like you said, going back 16, 17 years in MCU history, finally being revisited in this movie. I think this is going to be, I don't know if it's, I mean, I feel so bad that it has to go up against Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four next year, because that is a impressive run from Marvel Studios. But even if it turns out to be the worst of the three, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because I think it could still be really good, and I think there's a lot to look forward to.
I agree. I think this is an incredibly exciting slate of movies and TV shows for 2025, and it'll come back down after that. But with the way the pandemic happened, then the strike happened back to back, it was so many things getting pushed back, and now finally all being ready at the same time for Marvel Studios and a lot of other places as well. There's going to be so much great DC content in 2025. And so that's going to be really exciting to dive into. It's still 2024, but I have Creature Commandos sitting in my inbox right now, and I haven't cracked it open yet. Can't wait to watch that one. But let's switch to another animated project and talk What If. This is a project that has gotten better with each season. Season 1 was fine. Season 2 of What If, a big improvement over season 1, gave some really awesome stories. The trailer for season 3 looks incredible. Like, we have so many different characters appearing for the first time. But before we kind of go, I was thinking of it a little bit as a similar to my NFL shows that I have to do for Roto-Grinders. I was almost going to say, let's go position by position here, because there's so many great plays. No, it's not position by position, but there's so many great stories and characters that pop up in this What If trailer that let's go through the roster, because I know I can't name all of them, but some of the ones we get featured here in the trailer, we get Sam Wilson as Captain America finally showing up in
What If,
these shows. We get Cowboy Kate Bishop, we get Cowboy Shang-Chi, we get Monica and Maria Rambo, we get White Vision, we get Moon Knight, we get, with Oscar Isaac voicing the role, we got Howard the Duck and Darcy going on a little adventure. We have Wong in a bunch of stuff. We have mecha suit of all the Avengers assembling together into one big not Transformers, but Power Ranger Gundam style suit.
Yeah.
But Winter Soldier and Red Guardian in a car chatting together, like we mentioned. We got Kahori back. We have her teaming up with Peggy, and one more character at the end of this trailer that I want to save for her own segment because wow,
because holy hell, she deserves it.
exciting. What did you think about this trailer?
I loved it.
I think this is easily going to be the best season of What If that we've gotten. Like this series, really, the thing about What If that has underwhelmed people is that it's so limitless with what you can do. There are literally no boundaries for what you can do with these characters, given the multiverse, given animation, and given all the stuff that's happened in the MCU so far. I think this is going to be awesome. Like you said, I mean, Cowboy Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop together, that's a team up I never saw coming. Obviously, Sam Wilson finally gets to be Captain America in this. We haven't seen that. We finally get some Phase 4 stuff because we couldn't use that in the first 2 seasons. And we got, like we were mentioning in the Thunderbolts trailer, we got Red Guardian and Winter Soldier back together. The Watchers being seemingly like the villains potentially of this whole season. And then obviously what's coming up here in just a hot second. Holy hell. I mean, the end of this trailer, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to expect from it, but I think we got a good season coming up.
I agree. I think we got a really, really good season coming up. I think I'm probably most excited to dive into the Cowboy Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop stories. I've been waiting for more of both of those characters for a while. Same with the Moon Knight stuff. I think that's what I'm most excited for. The characters we've only seen once. Maybe I got a tease of a second time, and that's about it. Outside of that, Kahori, I can't wait to see more of her. I got to interview at the Echo premiere in Canada on the red carpet. I got to talk to Devery Jacobs, who voices Kahori, as well as is a character in Echo. And so check that out. You can find that on the Agents Fandom YouTube page. When we talked about that, we talked about where she could show up in the future. Now we're finally seeing her in another trailer. So I'm very excited to get that character back. And she's teaming up with the first X-Men character to show up outside of Wolverine, Allison Seeley-Smith, the same voice actor who voices Storm in X-Men 97, is back not just as Storm, but with Mjolnir as the God of Thunder in What If Season 3. That's going to be by far the thing we're most excited for that we saw in that trailer. And so I can't wait to see some Storm in What If Season 3. I know you love Thor, and I'm getting to mix Storm in with back into this character. I feel like that's a pretty exciting blend for you.
I mean, I cannot wait
for this. I mean, obviously, Storm is an Omega level mutant. We've seen like teases of that in the live action movie, but never to the extent that she should have gotten with Halle Berry. I loved what they gave her in X-Men 97. Her character was so great in that, but
nowhere near enough screen time though.
She didn't get enough screen time. I will give you
that. But regardless, I did love her story and like just how powerful she got in that new costume and everything. It feels like kind of an easy choice to pick, if you're going to pick another God of Thunder for a different character, the character who can only control weather. But I don't even really care because it looks so cool. And just besides the fact that it's Storm as the God of Thunder, we finally get the X-Men Avengers possible team up collaboration that we have been waiting decades for in any form like this. And it's under the MCU umbrella. I'm so excited. And the thing about this trailer too is we didn't see at all who she's actually interacting with. I assume that's the same team with Peggy and Kahori. So we're going to see those three teaming up together, I figure. But I'm so excited to see how the rest of the MCU reacts to Storm, Goddess of Thunder. Holy crap.
You brought up the endless possibilities that What If had before, and that has, I think, rubbed a few people the wrong way that the series is reported to end after season 3. Why are you ending after 3 seasons when there are endless possibilities? And a lot of people have speculated, or not speculated even, just like kind of tried to put pieces together and go, well, it's a lot of work to create these. And if there's not a lot of interest, I think they're just going to end. But another Phase Hero shout out, Brad Winderbaum, they just had him on a recent episode and he kind of clarified and teased a few things about What If Season 3. And he brought up how the reason it's ending is because this story is ending because something is going to happen at the end of, I'm paraphrasing, so apologize if I screwed up a little bit, but something's going to happen in Season 3 that interacts with the wider MCU and is going to kind of cause this story to end. That doesn't mean there won't be more What If or What If type things in the future. It just means this iteration of it is coming to an end because of a specific reason that we'll see in the show. Rich, that sounds to me like we got an Incursion coming.
It very well could be. I mean, we haven't had anything with Incursions for a while. I mean, really outside of Doctor Strange 2
in the Marvels. And I think it's about time we got something along those lines, because Doomsday comes out in less than 2 years. They're starting to film it in, I think, spring of next year with Downey coming back as Doom and everything. We're going to need some big Incursion level events coming here soon. And if they find a way to bring like the animated stuff into the live action stuff and mesh that together, I mean, we already knew this thing was going to be huge anyway, finishing off the multiverse saga. If that happens, I can't even predict what we're in for, how big it's going to be.
My hot take is that when we, speaking of, again, going back to the whole, when are we going to see certain post-credit scenes again? I think we will see MCU, Sacred Timeline, 616, whatever they want to call it, Doctor Strange, in What If Season 3 with Clea. And I think we got to go stop an Incursion. They go, where did they go in that post-credit scene? Straight into the dark dimension. Who do we see in this What If trailer? Dormammu. So I think we're going to get an Incursion in What If Season 3. And not only are we going to get an Incursion, but that's probably going to be the Incursion that main timeline Strange and Clea went to go stop.
That would be super, super cool. We haven't seen Dormammu since the first Doctor Strange. So, this is going to be really fun. And especially because Doctor Strange has already played such a huge role in What If, it kind of would honestly make sense. I'm curious to see too, like the two Doctor Strange interacting, like Strange Supreme and Earth 616, Benedict Cumberbatch Strange. But no, that would be huge if that happens. And obviously, we've already seen Peggy Carter, Haley Atwell do the live action Captain Carter in the Doctor Strange Illuminati. But no, that would be insane if that's what happens, because they've been teasing stuff for Doctor Strange 3. Apparently, Sam Raimi's back on board for the third one. Don't know when it's going to come out. I'm curious to see like if it actually makes it into this Doomsday Secret Wars kind of time frame. But this is going to be big. This is going to be really big.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for What If Season 3. The final thing that I want to talk about before we get out of here is the newest Star Wars show that is coming out in December. We'll be covering it here on the Agents Fandom podcast, and that is Skeleton Crew. This one, to me, I don't think we got to go in like the in-depth analysis like we did in these other ones, because this was more of like just a tease of getting to see what the show is all about. And I see Goonies vibes of group of kids getting into mischief together. We got some fun. The score seems really fun in this one. It seems like it's for the kids, and I don't think it's necessarily going to have to be one we break down critically and are going quite as hard on it as maybe some of these other projects, and just the one that is maybe not necessarily designed as much for the adults, a little bit more for the kids, and we just get to sit back and enjoy. What did you think of this trailer?
I really liked it. It's
so different from a lot of the Star Wars stuff that we've gotten on Disney Plus, all of which have been like so varied in the themes that they do and how they present it and everything. I agree. I think this is one for like the younger generation of Star Wars kids. And like, I just really, really hope it turns out well, because I got a lot of fun vibes from this trailer. I think it's going to be a really fun watch. I don't know what to expect from it, although I am very excited to kind of get like a different corner of the Star Wars universe, another one even from the ones we've gotten in all these other shows, kind of like the suburbia of Star Wars a little bit, at least for the start of it, before they go on this Goonies style wild adventure. It should be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it.
My favorite Star Wars thing we've gotten in a while is Ahsoka, and that's because my favorite Star Wars project is Rebels, and getting to see those characters come back meant so much to me. But an admitted potential flaw of that show is it wouldn't hit near as hard if you don't have the same attachment to those characters, if you haven't done your homework getting to know them. And one of the things that I think Skeleton Crew looks like it is going to do very well, and that the Acolyte also does very well, which is another reason it's a shame that that's not getting renewed for season 2, at least as of yet. Hopefully, if people keep pushing and prodding, eventually one day it will be. But you could step into the Acolyte not having watched a single Star Wars thing before ever and understand the story, understand what's going on. I think that's going to be the same case for the Skeleton Crew here. And I'm think that's good for the accessibility of new Star Wars fans, getting new generations and new people to fall in love with the universe. I'm excited to see Jude Law's character. It kind of seems like he's going to be helping these kids and go up against some space pirates and guiding them through the galaxy. I don't know if I have PTSD from his character in Captain Marvel, where I went into Captain Marvel thinking he was Marvel and not actually realizing that he was Yon-Rogg, and I thought he was going to be a good guy, then he just ended up being the worst. And so I don't know if it's PTSD or what, but I kind of feel like he may not be as good as he seems, maybe is going to be using these kids a little bit, but I'm hoping, like I mentioned, I'm a big Star Wars Rebels fan, big Clone Wars fan. I really want to see Hondo Ohnaka in this series, my favorite space pirate. That's who I'm hoping shows up.
One of the biggest characters that I have wanted to see. Like, I caught up on all of Clone Wars, all of Rebels before Ahsoka, which was the best decision I could have made because Ahsoka's amazing because of it. I want to see Hondo Ohnaka so badly. I remember like when we were all at Disneyland together, and he's in the Rise of the Rebellion, I think, or one of those Star Wars rides, and like seeing him in there was great. We've got to get him in live action at some point. He's like the last big one on our list of characters of the animated series that hasn't made it yet.
Yeah, I want to get Hondo really badly. I brought up Star Wars Outlaws before. The upcoming story they're releasing is with Lando, but the next one after that is going to be with Hondo. And so I can't wait to dive into that one. That is going to be a lot of fun. But we are rich with content right now. There's so much great stuff upcoming. We got Skeleton Crew and Creature Commandos as the next one immediately coming up in December. But in the new year, there's going to be so much incredible movies like we saw with Thunderbolts and Captain America coming up for us to cover. Fantastic Four and Superman later in the year as well. It won't be too long before we have Daredevil Born Again in March, which will be wildly exciting to cover. Invincible, we have some really fun stuff planned with potentially some of the cast and creators coming to join us. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the Agents of Fandom on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Hit the notification bell, hit the like button, help us build and grow this community, reach as many eyes as possible. Before we get out of here, it's on the screen, but for those just listening to us in podcast form, Rich, where can the people find you on socials? And do you have any fun articles coming up for them to read?
Yeah, no, you can find me at Richard Nebens, Nebens, on all the socials. I just started a Bluesky account the other day. I don't know how much I'm going to be using it. I got to navigate all these new like social media platforms and everything, see what I want to do. But at Richard Nebens, not too much in terms of like crazy articles in the works, but at the end of the month, I've got something very, very cool coming up. I'm not sure the exact details yet, but I am going to San Francisco Fan Expo to hopefully help cover some stuff. I'm going there with a couple of buddies of mine to hopefully do some press, see what I can do there. And that's over my birthday weekend. And I'm very, very excited. It's only going to be my second Comic-Con ever. And the guest list is insane. Hayden Christensen's going to be there. Charlie Cox is going to be there. Felicia Day. A ton of people. I'm so excited that's how I'm going to be spending my birthday weekend, and it's going to be great. Obviously check out, when I come on here with Agents of Fandom, all my stuff over at the Direct. Shout out the Direct podcast too. They've been covering all these trailers and everything the last few days as well. It's going to be a fun end of the year, and I'm very much looking forward to where all of us go into 2025 too.
We also got some really great interviews with, including one with Philip Kennedy Johnson, and some more great Comic Corner content with Damon Fat Thor and AF. So make sure you check that out on the Agents of Fandom YouTube channel. Our own Carolyn Lee just had her very first interview with us. She interviewed Ashby Gentry from My Life with the Walter Boys. They had a really great chat, so make sure you check that out. We got more interviews coming to the channel soon. So like I said, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell and the like button so you don't miss out on any of our shows. Thank you so much for tuning in this week, everyone. We will be back next week and with some announcements of upcoming content and things like that. So stay tuned. We will see you next time. On behalf of myself, Rich, and all the agents of Fandom. Peace.